Well, first, thank you for being here. I'd like to welcome Bob Brown, the president of Boston University, who is joining us today here at the Red Hat Summit. Thanks for joining us, Bob.
Well, Paul, it's really great to be with you, even if it's only virtual at this point.
So, we'll get right into it. We had a few questions we wanted to sort of get your take on. Maybe talk to us a little bit about how and why did Boston University's relationship with Red Hat begin a bit from your perspective?
Well, it's a wonderful story, I think, and you have to bear with me because it has the two elements that you always hope in a university to come together. One is great faculty and the other is institutional strategy. And it's a combination of both. We're fortunate to have Oran Krieger as one of our great faculty members at the university who is very interested in cloud computing. And almost parallel timing with this, the university was making a commitment to join with other universities to form what's now called the Massachusetts Green High Performance Computing Center. And it's a shared resource between 5 different universities. And it became a synergistic with what I'd call the open cloud, and with Oran's interest, and I think Red Hat's interest in perpetuating how do you build open cloud systems that can drive collaboration between institutions. And that's how it was born. It was born with the MGH PCC, with the Open Cloud Initiative that started there, with Red Hat's involvement, and has been one of these great stories of, I think, of a university corporate partnership that has just grown and grown from those beginnings. And with Oran's work, I think at last count, we have over 11 faculty who have been involved directly in the collaboration. It's spread as the interest in the open cloud spread simultaneously.
Well, that's exactly how I remember it as well. And, I know why from a company like Red Hat, why it's emerging technology is important to us, but maybe a little bit, why is emerging technology and specifically cloud research important to an organization like Boston University?
Well, you can think of a research university as having 2 pieces to it. One is we want to follow the lead of great faculty who are trying to find those problems that they want to work on that will make a big difference in society. And what we do as a university is when they find one of those problems and they focus on it, we try to do everything we can to support them, because with them, they'll bring this trail of great graduate students and undergraduate students into that research, and they create incredible energy for the institution. So that's one reason. That's what we do. The second is the open cloud fits very much in our strategy as a firm, as an institution. We believe that computing resources, storage, data, and just compute cycles are ubiquitous. We've got to figure out as an institution how to move them from the old days. I'm old enough to remember the VAX that you had in your lab to this virtual environment in the cloud where it flows, as one of my biologists says, like water. That's how cycles should flow, right? And you have to explain to them that it's really not quite that simple as a faucet because of security, privacy, interoperability questions. But that's the environment we have to create. And if we try to do it ourselves in the old style, it's horrendously expensive and it's confining. And what we knew, and that's why we got involved in the MGH PCC, is we now are partners in a much bigger computer center than we would ever have otherwise. And then you come back to the open cloud, and especially the open hybrid cloud, you've got to make that interoperate with your systems, with private systems, with highly secure data, with all kinds of things that Red Hat does for a living, right, is part of our business too. So from a business point of view, this makes sense. And from a research and education point of view, it makes sense. That's why it works. When those things come together, it's like magic.
I couldn't agree more. We found so many of those points that where we could connect the dots, and I agree with you 100%. You talked a lot about it here, but maybe a bit more on a bit more about the Open Cloud Initiative and the projects that sit under that, how are they advancing research and specifically in the areas like artificial intelligence or even cloud operations?
Well, I have to give you the disclaimer. I'm a chemical engineer that studied fluid in pipes. And so you're getting right at the ragged edge of my knowledge, right? But when we think of the way the world is going today, the kind of research projects we're trying to marry together have so much to do with bringing together big data from different kinds of data sets, very heterogeneous data, using AI algorithms to interrogate that data, with different people supplying the data with different kinds of privacy constraints on those data sets. And we see that in the School of Medicine. We see that all over the university. In our most high-profile center we have right now is the Center for Anti-Racist Research, led by Ibram Kendi. And the racial data tracker in that center has all of these characteristics, right? And so we need to create compute environments that can facilitate that kind of research and collaboration with people outside our environment. And so this research fits very well in where a lot of the research within the university is going, in a data-driven AI world.
It's obvious you're very passionate about this, but are there any BU research projects in particular that you're particularly proud of or passionate about? One of the projects we've highlighted several times is Red Hat's work with BU to develop the CRIS Research Integration Service with Boston Children's Hospital. You talked a little bit about that, using Red Hat technologies in the mass open cloud.
Yeah, that's a great example, in terms of making patient care better. When you think about, and there's been a lot of high-profile companies trying to work on this, trying to do AI to do diagnoses, right? And as you know, what the CRIS project does is create an open cloud platform for radiologists to upload X-rays and other imaging results so that they can be shared in a collaborative way across different institutions to bring expertise to bear on diagnoses. And it's just a fabulous example of bringing a third party in, a great hospital, Children's Hospital, pick a problem, radiology, trying to make a collaboratory for them in a software environment, and then using open cloud principles to do that. And to be at the same time using really high throughput computing, my understanding, so that you can do image processing at really phenomenal speeds to facilitate that collaboration. It has everything. It has the storage, privacy, security issues, and then it has the computing issues laid on top of it for a great outcome, right? And you can see how you could take something like CRIS and move it into so many other places in medicine. And when we talk about training doctors, one thing that is very important is we can't only train doctors that are going to work in these incredibly high-profile tertiary care centers like we have in Boston. We have to train doctors that are going to work in small community hospitals and clinics. And tools like CRIS allow them to connect to expertise that they don't have locally, and will change medicine. And at the other side, make great outcomes less expensive.
We're also working on expanding an exciting project that we kicked off together in 2017 with the Red Hat Collaboratory at the Harry Institute to advance research and education in open source and emerging technologies. Maybe talk to us a little bit about what some of the goals of this new and expanded relationship are that we've talked about.
Well, Paul, I'm so pleased with this and with Red Hat's commitment to expand the partnership, because it's just wonderful to watch something grow and mature and then re-envision itself, right? And the piece to me as the president of a university that I'm most proud of is the student engagement that's come from this. Enormous number of undergraduate and graduate students over the years have been engaged. And also my understanding is it's led to a substantial number of Red Hat employees that have BU degrees. And from our perspective, our product is two things. Our product is a great research and scholarship that actually has an impact and it's people that are going to move the world forward. And to see those come together the way it's done with the Red Hat vision and our faculty is just phenomenal. To expand the partnership, not only to do more research and more important projects, but to engage more students and create an educational environment where more and more of our computer science and engineering undergraduate and graduate students are getting real world experience working in open cloud software environments and helping develop open cloud software environments.
Couldn't agree more. And through the partnership, we've committed to closing the education skills gap so students and graduates have the ability to work with open source software. It's just so important to both of us, I think.
From an educational point of view, we want our students to hit the ground running when they come out the door. Yeah. Right? And it's important to them, it's important to you, it's important to the whole society. And you really are making a difference.
Well, I have to say the same as well. I mean, these collaborations, how do you really think our collaborations really advance in things such as closing the education skills gap, and why is it doing it such a priority to both the industry as well as the academic world?
Well, one of the things about universities, and I've been in these institutions a long time, is that we can perceive what the world needs, or we can listen to what the world needs. And what Red Hat, in great firms like Red Hat, when they collaborate with universities, make that connection back to us. You not only bring problems, but you dedicate time of your engineers to work with our students. That kind of collaboration in someone's education is a very rare event, where you can actually sit side by side in a collaboratory, as we call it, the Red Hat Collaboratory, and work with Red Hat engineers, talk to them about how they would approach a problem, and then the students work on important substantive problems that the Red Hat engineers are saying, these are really important things. This is what you would do in the real world. And that's what separates the ivory tower, makes the ivory tower come down and work with the world. And that's when these collaborations work extremely well for both sides. I can say from many experiences of this, Paul, and I think the Red Hat team should take a bow, they don't always work because it's a corporate commitment to make them work. And, there's a phrase I love to use, it's enlightened self-interest, right? And when both parties can see that working together really matters for both sides. And this has been really going well.
The connection point between both components of Red Hat's expanded partnership with BU is it's the future. It's an investment in the future of technology and open source innovation, and an investment in the future in terms of building the talent pipeline our industry will so much require. When you think about the future, what inspires or excites you?
Well, I'm always an optimist. I really believe that the future, especially when you think about computing and what computing is going to do in our lives going forward and is already doing, is incredibly bright. In that, to me, what really excites me is that we're part of that. Our university's part of that. Our students are part of that. We have a great collaboration with you. And that I feel really good about our role in that future of our society in all aspects of it, whether it's research in cloud computing or research in large data sets for the Center for Anti-Racist Research, right? And those are the things that I think that drive educators and research universities forward, is thinking about how we participate and how we collaborate with great people like at Red Hat to create that future. And the funny part of it for us, or for me, is that at the end of the day, we create people, we create talent, right? And that talent goes out and goes to Red Hat, goes to firms, and goes for decades, pushing that future forward. That's the product. I'm getting a little sentimental here because we're getting close to commencement, and we will have an in-person commencement ceremony.
Well, thank you so much, Bob. It has been so great. I mean, it's such a pleasure when, as you said, when we can work together in both sides, be excited about technology as well as people and what we can do for society. I mean, it just can't be much better than that. So thank you so much for everything that you and the university have done, and certainly thank you for being here today.
Well, Paul, thank you, and it's I look forward to seeing you in person in not too distant future.
Me too.